speaking of animals and how we treat how we we relate to our children. Now, I'll say this right now. We are not 100% that this story is 100% accurate.
I can't believe it's true at all.
I checked, it's on like about 4 or 5 different websites, and usually, at least one website will say like, oh, this is a hoax, this story is phony, and all the rest of that stuff. As of right now, as of this taping, this story seems to be true. And even the article that we got this from said, we don't know if it's true, but, they pray to God that it's not.
I hope it isn't. I think,
well,
I hope
like I said, you be the judge. And someone told me about this a few days ago. I don't remember who it was, but Skillet brought this to my attention, and we found this, and we're going to bring it to you here. Apparently, this is the first time known to society that we have a lesbian couple. What kind of lesbian couple, you ask? Well, it's a black couple, 2 black women. Why is this a big deal? Because they happen to be mother and daughter.
That's not the first time in history.
I said known to society. Pay attention to what I said. Known to society. A lesbian mother and daughter couple. And I'll just be honest. I was surprised that they were black. Usually, this is the type of weird shit that white folks are into. But whatever, man. Mm-hmm. I don't even understand what the fuck. You don't understand. No. I understand there's a whole bunch of crazy white folk madness that goes on out there, but I just thought, I didn't think like this would be anything that would be racially specific. I just think this is just abominable. Well, it's just if it's real. But that's the reason I say this, because there's a whole bunch of stuff that white people get into that black people, especially black women, think is just nasty. And, it's like, oh, that's just gross. We can't do that. Those people are freaks and they're weirdos and blah, 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 blah. I'm talking about just shit that I'm like, okay, that's not a big deal. But they're like, ugh. So,
that's how they are.
Basically.
The whole black woman just wrote about,
when he mentions, especially sexual shit to them.
Yeah, that's the fucking.
But anyway, Vertasha, they black, and Mary Carter, a mother and daughter who are in a lesbian relationship. So basically, it says, this again. The article says that this shit appears to be real. The two have a Twitter account and make regular references to God, which of course is hilarious to me.
Like I said, they both should get their skulls stung with fucking lightning.
The account has hundreds of tweets and followers, and an ongoing conversation with readers who are condemning the women for their relationship. On the page, the two ladies' images on it states that Vertasha and Mary are the first openly African-American mother and daughter lesbian couple. Assuming that this is not an artificial conversation, it appears that the owners of the Twitter account are pushing to get people to accept their relationship to be as normal as a man dating a woman.
Well, there's an interesting point here. It said laws forbid incest mostly because of inbreeding and the birth defects that can often come as a consequence. Right. And they said we're women, so Vertasha and I obviously can't make children. Mary Carter said it'd be one thing if her daddy, he's out of the picture, got her pregnant and the baby was born with deformities, but we're not hurting anyone. We're a new minority and just want acceptance. You know what? Where's the Undertaker? I need this motherfucker to drop down to one knee. But
this goes back to something I've said for a long time now. I wrote a book.
This is disgusting.
I wrote a book basically based, it was about the Bible. I read the whole Bible and I basically just wrote a book report about it. I just wrote what came to my mind, what my feelings were about the stuff that I read. And I always have to point out to people, because, in America, and this is in my book, in America, you can't basically fuck around with your first cousin. I don't know how many cousins removed you have to be before everyone's like, okay, well, that's not a... But first cousins is definitely out of the picture. You can't do it. Because it's just too close, And again, it's gross, it's nasty, it's against, the laws of nature, blah, 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 all of this shit. Yet, number one, it's legal to marry your first cousin in 25 of the 50 states in the United States. Okay, that's number one. We run around saying how nasty it is, yet by law, you can do it in 25 to 50 states. Secondly, okay, fuck the laws of the sick laws. Let's go back to the Bible. In the Bible, it says you can't fuck your mama, your daddy, your grandmother, your aunts. In nowhere does it say that you can't fuck your first cousin. which is why all of these other nations around the rest of the world where people actually exist, because the whole world is not the United States, you know, you can fuck with your first cousin. I have a friend of mine who's half Middle Eastern. And when she goes over to her fucking, her Middle Eastern side of the family in the Middle East, you know, I was talking to her one day.
Her Middle Eastern side of the family in the Middle East?
Yeah, well, where else is it going to be?
Yeah, exactly.
And she was remarking about how hot her cousin was. Now, she's half black. Her mother's from the South. But her father is from the Middle East. And it took me back.
Do you realize?
It took me back a bit because I'm like, yo, I was raised in America. You're not supposed to say shit like that. You're not supposed to think shit like that. But over there, it's okay. Why? Because there's nothing in any of their laws.
Did you see the hills have eyes?
Religious or other. Wait a minute. Didn't you say in one of our shows back in our old spot that your friend who's a nurse said that you have to do a whole bunch of inbreed fucking before it even happens?
Yeah.
So technically, you can fuck your sister and have a baby and the kid be completely fine. But forget the biology of it. Is this a problem because we say it's a problem, or is it actually a problem? Now, when my friend,
but your own daughter, see, it's one thing.
No, I understand.
Some of your cousins, fine. It's cousins you don't even know.
Let's be clear that these people, this couple, the woman said that they were started to feel the attraction to each other when the child was 16, but they waited until she was 18 of legal age for her to make an adult decision. And she made the decision that she wanted that hot mommy poontang.
Yeah, they crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's. But this last, my mom is still my mom.
Right.
She does normal mom stuff, buys me clothes, pays for food, tells me to make our bed. We just happen to enjoy sex with each other too. I mean, so they go buy fucking rabbits and different fucking dildos and shit. The cousins thing, you know what, I can understand that a little bit better. I mean, I personally wouldn't go chasing my cousins, but you know, whatever. But your own daughter, she came out of you. Now you're putting things into her. Oh God, that's nasty to me. When I think about
it. And I said it shouldn't be nasty to you. My whole question is it actually wrong because there is something outside of ourselves?
It just feels wrong.
It feels because we can't, just like the cousin shit. It feels wrong because all we have known is that it's supposed to be wrong.
I guess because, like I said, because this child came from the womb of this woman. That, you know, the whole cousin, that's the part I can't get over. I can't get over that.
I understand that. I agree there has to be some
separation.
Not just separation, but I mean, something in your brain, again, growing up in the society that we live in.
Yeah, you can't just make your own fuck buddies.
But see, the thing is, you actually can. You know what it's like?
Yeah, what the fuck is it like? I want to know.
It's like when, and I said this years ago, homosexuality, right? When, to me, in my observation, I believe that I noticed that women, at least, were more open about fucking around with other chicks, even though they weren't lesbians.
Yeah.
After Madonna and, Sandra Bernhardt and all this made all of that shit nice and open and popular. Then all of a sudden, chicks were like, oh, yeah, I can be out. And again, I'm not saying they weren't doing this before, but now it was not. And
I see what you're saying. Right. It made it socially acceptable to actually speak upon it.
And what made it open my eyes were, at the time I was living in Crown Heights. In the part of Crown Heights is a heavy West Indian community. West Indians don't play that gay shit. Flat out, they just don't. Especially the Jamaicans. They'll kill you. They'll try to kill you. And I was waiting for some Chinese food. I was sitting, it was the summertime, and two chicks walked by holding hands. And these fucking Rosclots was standing in front of the store.
Rosclots, huh? That's what they are.
I'm just grouping it together and making it simple to simplify the story.
Rosclots.
We're standing in front of the store, and they were like pointing, but smiling. Like,
they probably wanted to see something.
Right.
Yeah.
All of a sudden. Whereas, again,
if it was two dudes at that time,
they'd have been killed.
They'd have been pushed into traffic, or something terrible would have happened at that time.
And it occurred to me a few days, like thinking about that scenario, I'm like, okay, Now it's cool, even in the West Indian community, for chicks to get together. Where that shit was a no-no, we don't play that bulldagger shit that, that's how they say. It occurred to me, like, how long will it take before men are afforded the societal leeway to just start fucking around with dudes?
You know what? Because losing, I'll just answer that. I think we're far away from that.
And we very well might be.
Away from that.
But because you do know, and I'm sure you know this, in other countries, if you and your homeboy, I forgot what, because it was brought to my attention, like holding hands for dudes in other countries is not a big deal.
Yeah. No, it's nothing. I'm just saying. So we were keeping it locked regionally, to United States.
Right.
I don't believe United States. You can have guys that go, in college I was experimenting, because that was the thing.
Right.
Women go, experiment.
And
I don't think I was experimenting
people.
And goggling nuts and stuff like that. No, I don't think you can.
I said this over. I said the exact same thing. Like, dudes don't do that shit. Like, I just wanted to see what it was like to suck some dick, and I did it, and now it's no big deal. No, you have to be gay in order to do that shit, for the most part.
Yeah, that's the perception.
But I still believe that there are people who, for whatever reason, just like how we think differently from a good portion of the rest of society. Not about sucking dicks, but, about a whole bunch of other shit.
Yeah.
There are probably people out there who can separate their brains from the norm and just do either what they want or what they should try this or
But how do you think that, see, because I'm thinking, as far as in this particular instance, isn't there some kind of maternal instinct? I'm not a woman. I don't understand this. I don't understand how it is to carry life in your body and go through whatever that bonding process is. Right. So all I have is some, guesstimation or whatever. I can never totally identify with this. So for me, in my brain and how I think it would be, that's what I said, it's just internally, it's just so nauseating for me to think about somebody, if I'm bonding with someone within me and they come out and I wait for them to grow to maturity, because it's almost like this, if you let's say you were a teenager, right? And there was a little girl that was 4 years old that, you saw playing across the street or whatever, and you saw her as a child, and you already had your testosterone, you went through puberty, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then, later on in life, you guys wind up getting together. Mm-hmm. To even picture having, was one thing to see a baby picture of somebody, but to know that, I remember when you really was a baby, and I would see you playing with the ball and, jump rope and dollies and stuff, and now I'm having sex with you, it would weird me the fuck out, and there's not even a connection there. Like that. So imagine if, I saw you in that condition because you were in my crib, in my house. I was giving you the bottle.
Listen, I get it. I get it, but it just goes back to,
She changed her drawers, now she's taking them off.
Listen, I get it. But like I said, how do you explain how we are when it comes to shit like this, Ray? How can we always manage to see past the bullshit to what shit really is, whereas it seems like most of the fucking rest of the country cannot?
Well, I think it's because you can program these people, the majority of people out there, to think whatever the fuck they want to think. You turn that shit. To think what I don't even believe that some of these people really believe what they're saying, but it seems to be that right now it's so popular and in vogue with this fucking highbrow soapboxing of how angelic we are and purified we are as humans and all this other kind of shit. It's almost like just bandwagoning. I don't believe, I really don't believe the majority of the people out there, because see, the people that are condemning Ray Rice and Adrian Peterson, see, it's not like because if you listen to what Ray Rice had said, and if you believe it, that I've never clobbered a woman, I never busted her up, never actually did it, right? But you probably, because he did the baby finster to her, so he set her up, but you ask every man on this planet to honestly tell the truth, whether they have or have not. Have you ever thought of it? Have you ever thought? Because to me, if you're thinking about it, that's damn near as bad, because the reason you might not carry it out is because, shit, I don't want to go to jail. It's the same thing. All of the people that's condemning Peterson, you mean to tell me you've never hit your child ever and you would never even think of it?
Right. Okay.
It never would even cross your mind? So
granted, let's say that's true, and that's a valid point. But it still begs the question, why are we still able to, Even though, okay, they think it like we think it, why are we able to be like, yo, but I'm not gonna go along with it.
I'm not gonna go. I told you, to me, I'm on that old crystal hippie shit. You know, I may dress like this or whatever today, but I believe in frequencies, and I do believe that, you know, literally we're on different frequencies, because how can you present the same set of facts to certain individuals and they see it one way and the other people see it completely the opposite? Because the way I see it, it's like that kid that you showed me, that video with that dude, you know, who was able to break down the whole Ray Rice thing, and the guy that's, you know, old beyond his years. And he's able to see, like, you'll speak to certain people and it's almost like a recognition, like, holy shit, you think like it's like quietly, like, oh shit, you think like I do. So now I can be myself. Because to be myself, you know, to the majority of people, oh, that's the weird guy, that's the crazy guy that thinks outside the box or whatever.
And that's what we hear all the time. That we're weird, we're crazy, you know, we're extremists, we're this, that, and the other, you know. But and I would say we're easily batting over 50%. That we're usually right. Motherfuckers, usually it takes them however long, weeks, months, years, to see the shit that we see a long time ago, you know. And I've had people tell me, you're like, oh, you know, I wish I was like you. I wish I could just not give a fuck and say whatever I want to say.
I mean, this whole thing is, if people can't see, this is the NFL trying to save face so the sponsors won't jump ship on them. That this is just, at the end of the day, as you go higher up and higher up, this is about saving money. Yeah, this is about maintaining an income stream and throwing these individuals under the bus. That's what that is. This particular situation, the societal thing with this man and this woman thing, to me, I heard everything you said when it comes to that. I mean, to me, it just feels so unnatural because of the mother and daughter.
Oh, no doubt. I didn't say it was unnatural. You know, I don't know, because, and you know what else? You know what else? Why I think that this may not be as weird as we think?
Why?
Look at all the motherfuckers fucking their daughters, the molestations.
I mean, that's terrible.
No shit, it's terrible, but it happens way too often for it to be. But I'm saying, for it to be something where our nature, whatever forces created us, should have put something in us that's like, oh no, we're not supposed to do that. But yet, at least half the chicks that I know have been molested. I don't know if they've been fucked by their fucking parents, but they've had, you know, tits squeezed, ass, fingers in them, all types of shit from people that are in their family.
No, I think that probably goes more towards our bestial nature, especially when you talk about man against, you know, daughters or nieces or whatever. I think it's because what fuels us to be aggressive, this whole testosterone, the thing, I mean, I think these people have no gauge, no catalytic converter on them to stop them from seeing, because I think, you know, hey, an attractive body is an attractive body, okay? And if you have, let's say, a daughter that's super dope looking, curvaceous and all this other kind of stuff, if you were just to look at her isolated like a human figure, wow, she's put together. But there should be something that, you know, that when it goes to, oh, she's put together, she has this, she has that, oh, wow, I like that kind of stuff. That's what attracts me. There should be something there that stops that. There should be something there that stops that. That go, okay, wait a second, that's my daughter or that's my niece.
But you know what? It might simply be the fact that
I think it's something like a scale thing within people. And I think these sick motherfuckers.
That's where my queries come in. Is it actually within us? Or again, is it something that's been planted in us from outside forces that we're just battling? Much like monogamy. Much like, you know, getting married, all that shit.
Yeah, you're right. We've had several shows on that.
Yeah, we believe that that's what we're supposed to be doing, but then why is it so fucking difficult? Why is being faithful to one person so difficult?
Physically faithful to one person.
So, if that's what we're supposed to be doing.
Because, and we have to, wow, I mean, this...
Like I said, that's why
this is very interesting. And see, you know what, because I'll tell you this honestly, I was so repulsed that I didn't even, normally I go to the comments.
And we gotta wrap this up.
We gotta wrap this up, sorry, you know, and we were all over the scale, but hopefully you'll be able to, you know, pick the good things out. I didn't get a chance to check the comments, but I will, you know, I guess since you said their Twitter line is still going, I want to see how the rest of society is viewing this particular relationship? Are they going to go to racist route and just say, oh, these are just some black savages or whatever? Are they going to have an open dialogue with it? Or is it going to be this same highbrow soapboxing that's going on these days?
Sure
I think the latter.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be curious to see if there's, one or two people, or at least, question it the way I do, or at least, pause to look at it and again, I do believe it's kind of gross. Don't get me wrong, but I just question is it actually
I know what you're
wrong?
saying. What Ken wants to know is what is our true human nature?
Right, exactly.
At the end of the day, fuck religion, upbringing, cultural stuff, regional stuff. What is the true definition of a human being? What are our true tendencies?
I think we're fucked creatures.
I honestly, in a closing note, I think that we're really savage, wild, impulsive, emotional, violent fucking human beings, and we've spent eons basically trying to curb that to be something that can coexist with those on the right of us and the left of us, so we don't tear ourselves apart as a civilization. But that's my opinion.
But anyway, folks, sorry for running long. Well, at least on the TV scale, YouTube people, you know how we do. But anyway, that is our show. Thanks again for tuning in. We're gonna have more crazy shit for you as usual.
Next week.
So
with a different backdrop, right?
Yes, with a different backdrop.
But I'll be dressed the same.
He'll be dressed the same. Anyway, folks, thanks again. We'll catch you next week.
Take care. Bye-bye. Murmur, 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 murmur.
We're trying to make it, baby.